So I just went on the absolute trip of a lifetime. I want to talk to you about all of the good things, all of the bad things, make some suggestions for you. I'd love to get your feedback about where I should go next and where we should take our family next year for our next summer vacation. So I wanted to go through, give you some tips, some advice, some things that you need to know if you're gonna take your family to travel on Europe. And also I wanna talk to you about how much money I spent. So the first place that we went to was Barcelona, Spain. We had some great meals, we had some great fun, we had some amazing Italian food as I'm looking at these pictures here. Take a look at all the sites over there. And I actually even was able to go and see my father. We saw some amazing sites, we took some amazing tours. Barcelona is a really cool city. I did want to tell you a couple things that you should know about Spain and Barcelona to begin with. First of all, it's fairly inexpensive. So if you're looking at Barcelona to travel to, it's not an expensive city. You don't have to spend a ton of money on your hotel or a ton of money on your Airbnb. So I would strongly suggest if you're going to go to Barcelona and you want to see all the sites, you don't want to miss anything, get one of those 2-day passes for the hop on, hop off bus tour. A lot of times they'll have like a boat, they'll have some extra event on it. It's a really good value and it's usually going to cost you about 20 to 25 euros. And it's a really great investment for your time. The cool thing I really liked about Barcelona is Barcelona's got some of the coolest architecture. But when we got to Sevilla, Spain, it was just so much cooler. We stayed around this really cool monument. We got to walk all these cities. You know, on average each day I was walking between 10 and 13, 14 miles a day. So I wanted to recommend that you definitely check out Barcelona, but in my opinion, Sevilla, even though it's not on the coast, it's way better than Barcelona. The people are nice, the food's great, there's so much to do, and guess what? Did you know that JC Nichols bought the plans for the Country Club Plaza from Sevilla, Spain? So we had to go there, we had to go check it out. We actually went to the place that was designed virtually identical to the Country Club Plaza. And in fact, in Sevilla, Spain, there is actually a city called Kansas City. We really enjoyed it. It was a great time. In fact, we wish, it was one of those places like, we need to go back there. We had such a great time. So then, as I told you, after Sevilla, Spain, we caught a ferry all the way to Africa. It was about an hour ferry ride. They probably should get rid of the ferry because they could really build Africa up if there was a train that went underneath it, something that the Spaniards have been talking about for a long time. If they could get Elon Musk involved and tunnel that thing so that you're literally just taking a train underneath there, it would be such a better situation. But once we got to Africa, it was a completely different world, right? Our Airbnb there had excellent reviews. The best thing I can say about that Airbnb, it was very inexpensive. And that was the one thing is when we went to Africa and we went to Tangier, Africa, I had no idea what to expect. But I can tell you, taking the ferry, and I noticed that all the cranes were to my left and nothing was to my right. And that's how the city was set up. And we actually stayed, in my opinion, in the busiest part of the city and probably in the wrong part of the city, because as we were leaving that part of Africa, we actually noticed on the cab ride to the airport that there was this whole part of Tangier that we missed that was way more beautiful, way more urban, way newer than any other part that we had been to. And then don't ever, unless you have to, take Ryan Airlines. It is the absolute worst customer service. Talk about getting punched in the face. They don't give a crap about you. And this is all coming from the top to the bottom. It's not coming from the people who work there. The people that work there are just following orders. But those orders are so barbaric that you just don't want to deal with that airline. You want to tell me the slogan for Ryan?
Ryan Air, more like Rip Off Air, where we take your luggage and we rip you off.
But from Africa via Ryan Airlines, they got us there safe, had great pilots and everything like that. We arrived in Lisboa, Portugal. Now, I didn't know much about Portugal. In fact, I thought that Lisbon was gonna be a total dump, a total dive, a total waste of time. I had heard it's got tons of graffiti. I had only watched a couple YouTube videos online and the guy just said there, he's like, skip it all together, you won't even like it. But it was absolutely one of my most favorite locations in the world. And after coming, I went on a Marriott Bonvoy app again and I said, you know what? Let me see what I can get. And they had this really fancy hotel. It was called the Ivans. The Ivans, which had a restaurant called Rocco's, was the nicest hotel that I have stayed in, probably almost anywhere besides Grand Velas, which is one of my other favorite hotels. But this hotel was the absolute dream of a hotel. They took such great care of us. I don't drink, but it was all you can drink, all you can eat. And we're talking 5-star food, but I'll tell you what, my family enjoyed the hell out of it. We had such a great time. And listen, those rooms were $1,000 a night. So it would have been $6,000 for those 3 nights, but I didn't pay anything. In fact, I got it for free. My points paid everything. And on top of that, I got treated like royalty because I'm a titanium elite member, just because I spend a lot of money on fixing and flipping properties. So if you're interested in real estate, make sure you go check out our coaching program, because we've got a lot of ways that you can take trips like this and not spend a damn bit of your own money. So I was able to have all of this awesome things happen in Lisboa, or Lisbon, which is an amazing city. We actually took a tour. It's one of the coolest cities I've been there. Lots of great views, lots of great walks, lots of just amazing things to see. It's super steep. There's a lot of things that happen there. But after, we headed to Porto, and we took the train from Lisboa to Porto, and that was honestly one of the best decisions we ever made. We absolutely enjoyed the hell out of it. If you want to talk about stress-free traveling, take a train the next time you're on there. It was supposed to be a 3 or 4 hour train ride. It felt glorious. We enjoyed it so much better than the airplanes, so much less stress than the airplanes. It was just such an exciting time. So if you're traveling through Europe and it's something that's like, 5, 6, 7 hours, I would say take the train. And then when we got to Porto, wow, what a great city that was. And Portugal is great, and it is very inexpensive there. We ended up going to Portugal and we had a great time. I ended up not taking Ubers as much this time. I usually take Ubers when I travel, and I actually took cabs this way, and I found it to be a much better experience in Portugal, especially that all the cab drivers there were great. The cost, like from the train station to my hotel, was like $16. It was very inexpensive. We took the taxis everywhere that we wanted to go. We didn't take many of them, but we did take an Uber one day. Uber compared to taxi cabs in other countries, I think taxi cabs win. But Porto had the absolute most amazing Italian food. We checked out that whole area. We went to a beach in Porto. They had a church on the beach. It was the most amazing time in the world. Then after Porto, we flew in to Zurich. The main reason that I went to Zurich, Switzerland, is because I have been told that it is the #1 best place to live in the entire world. It's got the happiest people, a lot of great things, mountains, hiking, snow skiing. It's so cool, so we had to go check it out. This is probably the best piece of advice I can give you about Zurich. Prior to going to Zurich, we had used all public transportation, Uber, taxi cabs, buses, those types of things. Like Zurich is very condensed, it's a city, but in general, Switzerland is a small country with small cities. And so I'd been doing all this research about these train passes. That's what everybody online literally tells you to do, is get a train pass. And then it says, well, this train pass works for this day, this train pass works for this day, this doesn't work over here, this doesn't work over there. And it's really just too much to think about. Unfortunately for me, I did tell you that Portugal is super cheap for cabs. Well, Zurich is super expensive for everything. My brain wasn't thinking, I was dead set on a train. As I'm looking and trying to figure this stuff out, we take an Uber to our Airbnb, and it cost us like $60, which is like $75. And so it was pretty expensive, a pretty short trip. After that, I looked and I said, we need to rent a car. And so I found a place called New Car, which is a local European brand, and I rented a great car, and we took that car all around the country, and we would not have been able to go as we pleased, see as we've done. We did so many of these amazing hikes up these mountains. It's one of my favorite places that we've been to. Also, my daughter and wife were able to see the most amazing artist, Taylor Swift. They had an amazing time. I am so glad that that is over with, because that was like a 6-month buildup at my house of nonstop Taylor Swift, Taylor this, Taylor this, Taylor that. The cool thing I liked about where we were at in Zurich is we had a lot of room, a patio, a balcony overlooking a park. The park was amazing. We played soccer pretty much every day. The best thing I liked about Zurich is we were able to check out all these amazing mountains, all these amazing sights, and we were able to do that with our car, go wherever the hell we wanted to go. We climbed up the mountain, we climbed down the mountain. We drove here, we drove there, we checked out everything. They have got more tunnels in Switzerland than I've ever seen before. I mean, some of these tunnels are 3-4 miles long. If you're claustrophobic and you don't want to be in tunnel, it's not the place for you. You get really used to it, but like the first time you go through a tunnel that's like, 5 or 6 minutes, you're like, man, is this thing gonna ever end, or am I in here for the rest of my life? But I mean, once you get used to all the tunnel systems, it's a very, very clean city. And the one thing I really enjoyed about Zurich is watching them build. There's a ton of construction going on down there. And the way that they build is much better than the way we build out here. They build with, number one, they only build with concrete and steel. They laugh at people who build with wood. Nobody's building with wood outside of the US because it's cardboard. And the way they build pretty much everything, anything of size, any house, anything like that, is a crane. So there's a crane on every job site. They've got workers from all sorts of other places, Italy, Serbia, this place, Armenia, this place. That was it. That was our trip. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know, where should I go next time for family vacation? Peace.